The turbulence wasn't what made passengers tense, it was the shouting. It started somewhere over the Rockies when most people had settled into their movies or drifted toward sleep, the cabin lights dimming to a soft blue haze. But row 12 erupted like a spark in dry grass. A large man in a baseball cap shot up from his seat, anger radiating off him like heat. "Say that again," he snarled down at the man beside him, a slim, calm traveler with broad shoulders and a stillness that almost felt out of place amid the chaos rising around him. The calm man didn't look up at first. He just closed his book slowly, marking his page with the same precision one might use to disarm a live explosive. "I didn't say anything to you," he murmured. But the angry passenger shoved his shoulder anyway, loud enough for surrounding passengers to flinch. "I don't need lip from people like you." And the "like you" didn't refer to attitude. It referred to skin tone, culture, origin, things the calm man had heard weaponized more times than he cared to remember. A woman nearby whispered, "Oh no." Another reached for the call button. But the angry man snatched the calm traveler by his collar, jerking him half out of his seat. The cabin gasped, as if one collective breath could stop what was unfolding. A flight attendant rushed over, pleading for calm, but the aggressor barked at her too, insisting he knew trouble when he saw it. The calm man didn't raise his voice, didn't fight back. Not yet. His eyes stayed locked on the aggressors, not with fear, but with a silence so controlled it was unsettling. A hook of tension threaded through the air. Passengers wondered, why wasn't he defending himself? Why was he letting the harassment escalate? What did he know that they didn't? The answer came in the subtle shift of his shoulders, the quiet exhale of someone deciding exactly how much restraint to hold. But the angry man didn't notice. He grabbed tighter, fist clenching fabric, and shouted, "You think you can ignore me?" The calm man finally spoke, voice low and steady. "Sir, please let go." But the aggressor only tightened his grip, unaware that he was pushing past a boundary most trained soldiers would warn him never to cross. The cabin felt like a stretched wire, waiting for the snap. And somewhere in that electric stillness, those closest sensed it first. There was something dangerous about the calm man, but not in the way the aggressor imagined. His composure wasn't fear. It was discipline. It was practiced control. It was the kind of stillness that comes only from a life shaped by survival, precision, and missions the world never hears about. The plane vibrated with a new turbulence, but it wasn't weather. It was the moment before revelation. The shove that followed made the calm man's head snap sideways, and that was when the energy in him changed. Not anger, not panic, something colder, sharper, like a weapon being quietly unsheathed. Before he even moved, a woman behind them gasped, "He's done!" She didn't mean the calm man. She meant the aggressor, who was still gripping him like he was safe. The calm man slowly stood, rising with a kind of controlled precision that made several passengers instinctively lean back. He didn't stand like a civilian. He stood like someone trained to eliminate threats with speed and without hesitation. "Sir," the flight attendant tried again, "please take your seat." But neither man looked at her. The aggressor puffed out his chest, trying to appear larger now that his target was standing. "What are you going to do?" he barked. "You want to fight, tough guy?" The calm man tilted his head slightly, studying him. Not sizing him up, but measuring distance, angle, weight distribution. A calculation. "I don't want to fight you," he said, "but you need to stop now." His voice didn't rise, it didn't tremble. It landed like a command. The aggressor scoffed, then grabbed the calm man's arm. A mistake, a fatal one if they weren't 35,000 feet in the air. In a movement so fast most passengers didn't fully see it, the calm man shifted his weight, disengaged the grip, and pinned the aggressor's wrist behind his back in one fluid motion. No brute strength, no anger, just technique. Pure, exact, practiced technique. The aggressor screamed, bending forward in pain. What are you?" The calm man didn't answer, but another passenger, wide-eyed, whispered it for him. "He's military, has to be." Another murmured, "No, not just military, special forces." The calm man leaned in, voice barely above a whisper, but sharp enough to slice the tension in half. "You grabbed the wrong person." Marla, the lead flight attendant, rushed to intervene, but even she froze when the calm man finally revealed the detail that shifted the entire energy of the cabin. He released the aggressor, let him stumble backward, then pulled out a slim identification card from his wallet, not in anger, but to satisfy protocol as flight attendants moved in to separate them. The card bore a gold emblem, a bold insignia, 3 words that made the aggressor's face drain of color: United States Navy SEAL. The cabin went silent, not the hush of shock, but the deep silence of awe, fear, and realization colliding all at once. The aggressor stammered, I didn't know." "That's the point," the SEAL said softly. "You never know who you're talking to." The attendants moved the aggressor to the back, now shaking, while passengers stared at the SEAL as though seeing him through a new lens. One man whispered, "He could have broken him." Another said, "He chose not to." The restraint, the control, was the real power. But the story didn't end with the reveal. Minutes later, an emergency erupted. An elderly woman 2 rows up slumped forward, unresponsive. Panic surged again. "Is anyone trained?" a flight attendant cried out. Without missing a beat, the SEAL stepped forward. "I've got her." The cabin, already shaken by what they'd witnessed, watched him as he calmly assessed her condition, providing emergency triage with steady hands and clearer focus than the trained crew. His voice became the anchor in the storm. "Stay with me, ma'am. Keep breathing. You're okay." The same hands that could dismantle a threat in seconds were now fighting to save a life. A duality no one expected. A truth no one would forget. When the plane finally landed, paramedics rushed aboard, taking over the elderly woman's care, but not before thanking the SEAL for stabilizing her long enough to reach the ground safely. Passengers watched the exchange with reverence, their earlier fear replaced by gratitude. The aggressor, still trembling at the rear of the plane, avoided eye contact, his earlier bravado shattered. But justice wasn't finished with him. 2 airport security officers boarded, speaking with the flight crew before approaching the SEAL. Passengers held their breath, but the officers simply nodded respectfully at him, then turned to the aggressor. "Sir, we need you to come with us." The man tried to protest, but after everything he'd done, the harassment, the aggression, the attempt to instigate a fight mid-air, there was no escaping consequences. As he was escorted off, passengers finally exhaled the tension they'd been holding like a storm inside their chests. The SEAL shouldered his simple black backpack, the same one the aggressor had mocked earlier, and prepared to leave. But before he could, a little girl tugged his sleeve. "Mister," she said softly, "thank you for saving the lady." The SEAL crouched down, smiling gently. "It's what we're supposed to do for each other." The girl nodded. "But you didn't hurt the mean man. You could have." He paused, realizing she'd seen more than most adults understood. Strength isn't about hurting people. It's about knowing when not to. Passengers murmured in agreement, many wiping their eyes. The flight attendants apologized to him, one by one, ashamed that they hadn't intervened sooner. Marla, the attendant who had tried hardest to calm the situation earlier, swallowed her guilt. "You stayed so calm," she whispered. "Why?" He answered with a quiet honesty that felt heavier than any military secret. "Because I've seen what anger can turn into, and I promised myself I'd be better than the worst moments I've lived through." With that, he exited the plane, and the passengers followed him with their eyes until he disappeared into the terminal. No applause, no dramatic music, just the heavy, lingering understanding of what they had witnessed, the strength of restraint, the dignity of discipline, and the stark reminder that prejudice blinds people to the truth right in front of them. Everyone left the plane changed, not because they'd flown with a Navy SEAL, but because they'd seen what real power looks like when it chooses mercy over violence, calm over ego, humanity over hate. If this story made your heart tighten, if it made you rethink the way we judge strangers, or if it reminded you that strength isn't loud or arrogant, but disciplined and controlled, then don't let the message stop when the video ends. What you just heard is more than entertainment. It's a reflection of real attitudes, real danger, and real moments people face every day because of prejudice, assumptions, and unchecked anger. And the only way these stories create change is when you help them reach more people. So tell me in the comments, which moment hit you hardest? Was it the shove, the reveal, the moment the SEAL saved the elderly woman? Your voice matters more than you realize. When you share your reaction, someone else reading it might finally understand why these stories matter. If you believe people should treat strangers with basic dignity, if you believe we must confront prejudice when we see it, if you believe strength is measured by restraint, not dominance, then please share this video. Someone in your circle needs this reminder today. And if you want more stories that expose discrimination, highlight personal courage, and hold a mirror to the injustices happening quietly around us, then make sure you subscribe to this channel. We're building a community that doesn't look away, a community that finds power in truth and unity, a community where awareness becomes action. Hit like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you never miss these stories. Let's keep the conversation alive, because change doesn't start with a crowd. It starts with one person choosing to see the world differently. Let that person be you.